The Rock Metal Podcast, episode 162, with None Dare Call It Conspiracy.
Are you a friend?
I am recording. So, Rock Metal Nation, what is up? This is Sean from the Rock Metal Podcast. That sample you just heard was King Maker by None Dare Call It Conspiracy, who I've got on the show with me right now. They've got a new album called Pawns and Kings that was released via Wormhole Death Records on June 29th, and right now I'm being joined by members of the band to share some stories about the music and share more info about what they've got coming up. So guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, thanks for being on. Well, listen back to that track, King Maker. Come back from King Maker, definitely a banging track, definitely a very opening track. I remember when I first saw the music video, which we'll get into a little bit here, I was like, wow, this band has got something to say. So I wanted to find out, what is the story or inspiration behind King Maker?
Basically, the way things tend to go with us is, guys get together, we get a basic riff or two, and then I come into the process a bit later as the vocalist, and I listen and see if it makes me think about anything. At that point, I was in a point of a lot of different conflicts of how I think and what I think politically, personally. And it kind of came into King Maker as this overthrowing of ideas. The smallest thing could do it. And like any good song, though. It's meant different things to me in the year or so since every time I listen to it, I think it's something different. So ask me again next week. I'll give you an even better answer.
Perfect. And I like that idea, the overthrowing of ideas. Even the smallest thing can do it, such as the straw that broke the camel's back, as the saying goes.
Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, about half of the songs that, because I write most of the lyrics myself, about half of the songs tend to be very political, and then the other half tend to be incredibly personal. But somehow the style of writing that I've found, even the most personal songs tend to be pretty translatable for other people.
Okay.
So, or at least that's what I've been told.
All right.
I agree, but
they told me they're the best songs I've ever heard, and I can't help but agree. So, sir, you've got great taste. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And then, so with King Maker then, because the way it kind of sounds is maybe post-revolution or maybe a revolution, is that kind of the idea that was going along with it?
In a way. My memory for these things, it gets twisted up with the way I look at things now. And when you get in that writing mode, it's just kind of, or at least with me and a few others I've spoken to, it's just, there's an idea and it's already formed, but you don't have it yet. So then it comes out. And it was where I was at the time and the ideas I was playing with. Mm-hmm. Like, it kind of was one of the tracks that inspired the name of the album, which was Pawns and Kings, which is like everything in the album ends up, when you look at it, it comes down to the dynamics between how people interact with each other or how situations unfold for people. So this one was one of those songs where it's like there is some kind of situation. It's really hard to describe. I'm very bad at breaking down my own lyrics, and it's 90% bullshit when most people do it anyway. So, but no, I mean, there's a revolutionary bent to everything I do because my brain is constantly in revolution.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Pawns and Kings, the album, which we will chat about a little bit later, because since the first track to come out was King Maker, along with talking about Pawns and Kings, it almost seems like there's going to be a chess-themed album, coming out. But definitely a few of the other tracks don't have those kinds of names, so that's really cool.
No.
Now, with King Maker, for Rock Metal Nation who dug the track King Maker, if you go to today's show notes, that's www.therockmetalpodcast.ca. You can go and see the music video for King Maker, which I don't think it really has anything to do with making kings, but it definitely looks cool. Why don't you guys go and take us through the production of the music video?
Well, it's kind of self-made, actually. I built all the settings up there, the tents and all this stuff. And then I had a friend in school learning still, like, shooting videos, and he came to help us. And the only guys who we actually paid for is the actress on it.
The two actors, yeah.
And then I got some lamps from my brother-in-law. So I think the overall cost was around like €400, or what is it, $350 in America?
I don't know. Then I'd have to translate that to Canadian dollars.
Yeah.
And last I heard, that's not looking too pretty.
Yeah. And we were actually fucking surprised how good it looked.
Indeed, we were expecting that.
Yeah, because it was like
a pile of trash.
Yeah, it was like, and when we were doing it, I had one of my coworkers help me, and he was like drunk as fuck the whole time. And I was looking at him working on it, and I'm like, damn, this is not gonna work.
There's going to be a body at the end of this production.
Everything turned out well. We like kind of lose our guitarist on the second day of the shooting, so we did it without him. The usual stuff with musicians. It's just hard.
Yeah. And, the show's still got to go on. It's hilarious how many times that's happened and how many music videos don't have a member in it. There was a music video I was watching recently from a band that was really big at the time, and it's escaping me right now, but they were talking about like one of those bands that was on the radio all over the world like 15 years ago, which at this point, it's only like 2002 or 2003, but still. And I watched the music video, and it's missing like 2 members through the entire music video. And I'm like, I actually remember watching this when it came out on MTV. I don't ever remember seeing that it was missing 2 freaking members, but it happens all the time.
That's what happens when you get 5 or 6 artistic personalities trying to coexist. You get sparks.
Oh, yeah. Certainly do. And speaking of sparks, let's go listen to the next track, Nevermore.
What's going to happen? Something wonderful.
Rock Metal Nation, it's John from the Rock Metal Podcast for a real quick break to let you know that Jay over at Metal Mayhem Radio is looking to help you get your band in rotation on his station. So go ahead and hit up Jay at studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. That is studio@metalmayhemradio.co.uk. Just go ahead and say that the Rock Metal Podcast sent you. He'll get you into rotation on Metal Mayhem Radio. All right, come back from Nevermore. Now, as I mentioned before, I was listening to the album and trying to figure out which other song aside from King Maker I wanted to listen to or I wanted to have on the show. And it was hard because the whole album's really good. I can't even really explain what brought me to Nevermore other than maybe the riff. But what's the story or inspiration behind Nevermore?
I don't know. Well, maybe the composing process, they just come out.
But
I would like to give you a cool story behind it, but it's like some of a jam, having maybe a few beers, and like, fuck, this is cool. And that's how it turns into songs.
indeed. And then that one, I have to say, that one took me forever to get. Well, that was the one that we were looking at bringing in other people, because it was like, 2 months into the writing process, and I had nothing lyrics-wise. I'm listening to the song going, what do I do with this thing?
Yeah, and after that, this dude just came to the studio and like, well, I'll just pull off something. And that's how it came out to be. So.
And like I was saying earlier, that's a lot of the time how it goes with my lyrics is there'll be this, I'll feel there's something there. I can't articulate it. And then all of a sudden, and it's all there. With a couple edits here and there, like, oh, that word doesn't quite work. Let's put it back like that. But the basic frame of it lyrically will come out there. And that's one of the more personal ones, less like big political things, but one of the more personal songs. So
Yeah.
that one took some effort.
Cool. You mentioned that it had a working title for a long time before it took on Nevermore. Is that why? Because there weren't any lyrics for 2 months?
No, almost all of ours, we go with working titles. It's the way we construct the songs normally is we start with guitar riff, and then the drums and bass will be added in on that. And at that point, we're already putting some basic recordings down. So that'll be the working title. And then when we're referring to it in the band, we'll refer to that title. And this album took a very long time between when we started writing and now when we're releasing. So I've been listening to that working title for about 2 years.
Well, all right then.
So that working title is lodged in my skull. And Nevermore is a very recent addition to the song, the title itself. But yeah.
Groovy. All right, now for Rock Metal Nation, who is just frothing at the ears at King Maker and Nevermore, and they're excited to hear that there are more tracks to come, why don't you guys go ahead and tell us about this album, Pawns and Kings? When we pick it up, what should we expect?
Well, that's a pretty far-reaching question.
Yeah, well, we've been doing this so long, and I've been listening those tracks for now, almost 3 years?
Yeah, 2-3 years, yeah.
So I kind of already didn't like them.
I don't know about that.
And then I had like this maybe 3 or 4 months when I didn't just touch the album.
Yeah.
And then like maybe 3 weeks ago, I started listening to again. Yeah. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, we have
this actually works.
But no, I mean,
again, so I'm pretty glad about that. It's
like our style is weird, and we haven't really been able to pin it down which particular subgenre we might be a part of. But it comes down to it's riff-driven, melodic, and every now and then a kick in the teeth. So it's I'm very, very proud of it myself. We've been working to this for a very long time, and it's very nice to finally be there. So
yeah, it's a kick-ass album, even if I say to myself. I would maybe drop one track, but only one.
Only one of the children has to go. Sorry, Timmy.
So the others can survive.
Best critic.
There's only enough cabbage soup for enough of us. And
you've done something nearly perfect when Yanni goes, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, there you go. Well, it wasn't that bad.
Exactly.
Well, I'm pretty critical on my own doings. So.
Indeed.
Now, the next logical question on Rock Metal Nation's mind, who wants to either find out more about you guys or definitely pick up a copy of Pawns and Kings, is there a website that they should go to find out more about you?
Yeah, but at the moment, the album's going to be coming out on music streaming sites and download sites all over the internet.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
This Friday.
Yeah, and more specifics will be up on our Facebook page, and Wormhole Death's pages as well. We'll be plugging the album. So those are good places to look.
All right. Well, guys, unless there's anything else you wanted to throw out there, I just wanted to thank you for taking time out of your day to come onto the Rock Metal Podcast and sharing None Dare Call It Conspiracy with Rock Metal Nation.
Thank you very much for having us. I hope you guys enjoy the album, and we'll be around. Hopefully we'll be in Canada sooner rather than later.
Something wonderful.
Rock Metal Nation. Hopefully you just found your new favorite band and none dare call it conspiracy. Big thanks again to them for coming on and sharing their music with us. Make sure to head over to www.therockmetalpodcast.ca to get all the information on the show you just heard today. And until then, rock on, Rock Metal Nation.
Yeah!